Perek Yud Mishnah Vav. This Mishnah has nothing to do with Hoitzah, with carrying on Shabbos, but is connected to the previous Mishnah because we're going to touch on Melacha Shetzricha Legufa and Melacha She'eina Tzricha Legufa. Says the Mishnah, Hanoitzel Tziparnov Zu Bezu. If someone picks his nails, he sort of removes part of his fingernail on Shabbos with his other hands, with his other fingernails. Oy Beshinov, or he bites his nails with his teeth on Shabbos. V'chein Sa'oroi, or if a person removes some hair, he removes some hair from his head. V'chein Sefamoi, or he removes his hair from his moustache. V'chein Zekonoi, from his beard. V'chein Hagoideles, and so too a woman who braids her hair on Shabbos. V'chein HaKecheles, a woman who paints her eyes, she applies makeup to her eyes on Shabbos. V'chein HaPoisekes, or a woman who parts her hair on Shabbos. Rabbi Eliezer Mechayev. Rabbi Eliezer says that is an Issa D'Oraisa, and a woman would be chayav for that. V'chachamim oisrin, or a person would be chayav for that. V'chachamim oisrin mishum shvus. The chachamim, however, say that these aforementioned items are only also midrabanan as a shvus. Now, what are the problems with all these things? Well, in the first case, notal tziparnov, biting nails and removing nails, etc., or removing hair, these are all problems of gozes. Gozes of shearing, of taking the wool off the animal, is an av melacha, and a tolda, a corollary of that, which of course a tolda is, there are 39 novus melachas, and the toldas, which are the subcategories of those, are still isuri deraisa. So if a person does, he bites his nails, or if a person pulls his hair, etc., etc., according to Rabbi Eliezer, you're chayav because you have been over the tolda of gozes. Kocheles, on the other hand, godeles, godeles and pokeses, parting your hair and braiding hair, the Baratunura says is a problem of bona, is a tolda of bona of building, and kocheles, the Baratunura says, the problem is kocheles mishum koseves, it's a tolda of ksiva, of writing, which is perplexing, because that is the havamina of the Gemara. The Gemara concludes that the actual problem of kocheles is tzovea, is colouring, is dyeing. And the Tosfos Yontif queries the Baratunura, and indeed the Rambam as well, why they explain the Mishnah according to the Havmin of the Gemara and not the Maskana, which is the problem of tzovea. But be that as it may, that all of these items, according to Rabbi Eliezer, they're Isurei De'oraisa, and a person does this on Shabbos, is chayav. However, the Chachamim say it's a drabon, it's an issa of shvus, it's a problem of, it's a drabon and all these things. Says the Baratunura, the Savri, because the Rabbanon hold, ein derech ksiva bekach, ve'ein derech binyan bekach. Because when a person braids her hair, or separates her hair, or paints her eyes, that's not considered proper ksiva, sovea, it's not considered a proper binyan, etc., etc. And the halacha is in fact like the Chacham. Now the Baratunura makes a very important point. V'davka hanoitel tziparnov v'sara b'yodoi. This is specifically if a person bites his nails or pulls his hair with his hand. That's when the Rabbanon say that they're potter from the D'oraisa. Had the potter Rabbanon michatos or miskila. Then there is no issa D'oraisa. There's no chatos if it was done b'shogeg, or there's no skila if it was done b'mezit. Aval hanoitel sa'ara yotziparnov b'kli. If a person takes an instrument, a scissors or a nail clipper or something, and he removes his hair or some nail, Moedim chachamim dechayev chatos. Then the Rabbanon would agree that you would in fact be over a D'oraisa, and that's considered an Issa D'oraisa. Now, then the Baratunura concludes, Ubichinot al shtei sa'aras chayev. What is the shear for cutting hair on Shabbos? Taking away 2 hairs. And the Issa is also a significant cutting. So for example, it's taking away 2 hairs, or a white hair between some brown or black hair. But, and in fact, taking that even for a man, taking away a grey hair or white hair between some darker hairs is also even during the week as well. There's a problem of beged isha, of loisilbash ish, bigdei isha, and therefore that's even also during the week. But vis-a-vis Shabbos is concerned, taking away 2 hairs or even 1 white hair from a black hair, that would be an issa of Shabbos. This is a problem. Cutting nails is a problem. Biting nails on Shabbos, one has to try and be very careful and train yourself even during the week. Vis-a-vis Hilchos Shabbos purposes, forget any other niceties, but just to try and be careful not to cut nails on Shabbos. I remember as a kid growing up, one of my rebbes in high school told me once that he noticed his Rav in shul biting his nails. We do it sometimes, we don't think. And he wanted to somehow indicate to his Rav that he was being over this drabonon of biting nails with his hand, with his teeth. So what he did was, he was quick thinking. He got his son, and he took his son to stand nearby the Rav, and he started rebuking his son for biting his nails on Shabbos. And with the intention, of course, that the Rav would hear, and would overhear this sort of rebuke. The kid, of course, was just sort of rolling his eyes, pretending to be being admonished. But the point was to tell the Rav, the point being that we can do these things without thinking, and one has to try very hard to be aware of it, even during the week, to try and train ourselves to avoid these potential pitfalls on Shabbos. The Mishnah concludes, "Hatoilesh me'atzitz nokuv chayev." If a person detaches a plant from an atzitz nokuv is a perforated plant pot. That you've got a pot, and it's got holes at the bottom, and it's on the ground, or it's near the ground, then, because it's perforated, it's got a din of mechuber. It's as if it's attached to the ground, because it's being yonek, it's sort of drawing sustenance from the ground, and therefore, if you're toilish, this atzitz nokov, if you take a plant and you pull it out from an atzitz nokov, from a perforated plant pot on Shabbos, you're chayav because you've done a maisa of toilish. V'she'ena nokov, if however it is not perforated, it's got a sort of a solid underneath, a solid bottom, then potter, because you haven't done a maisa of toilish. Of course, you've done a drabonon, but it's potter. Reb Shimon poiter bozeh ubozeh. Reb Shimon patters even toilish mi'atzitz nokov, because he says that even just because there are some holes at the bottom, that doesn't make it properly mechuba. However, we do not paskin like Reb Shimon, we paskin like the Tanakama, and therefore, if you're toilish mi'atzitz nokov, if you detach a plant from a perforated plant pot, then you are chayev. But if it's ein nokov, you are potter. That is the end of Mishnah Vav and the end of the 10th parak of Shabbos.